Good morning. We can start this press conference before the first match. As usual, let's start from our channel that is down there. So please introduce yourself and the newspaper you represent. Good morning, Mr. Rico Zambroni at Juventus TV. So I would like to ask you, what about the performance you expect for tomorrow's match in order to get an important result from Udine? And what about your assessment on Udinese and the whole match of tomorrow? Well, first of all, good morning, everybody, and nice to see you again. Well, tomorrow is our first match for the new championship, and then, as I used to say very often, I always say that the very first match, just like all the stops, are very difficult games, especially because we find a very strong team. I would say that last year they were second or third in the ranking in terms of conceded goals, no corners, if I'm not wrong. So basically, we'll have to be extremely careful tomorrow because they're very good in counter-attack. They have a very good technical players that are very fast, and also the defense is very well organized and structured. So for us, it's going to be our first match. We need to be very ready and being aware of the fact that we'll have to leave Udine with a positive result, that is a victory. And to achieve this, we need to have a very good, solid and technical performance with great patience, because certainly it's a side that is quite challenging to play against. Alberese Sport Italia, so what I'd like to ask you about Ronaldo and Quadrado that we didn't see in the friendly match on Thursday. And what about Ramsey? Do you think he will be able to play? Well, Ramsey has been improving in front of the defense. Well, from the first matches, I would say that he has grown a lot. Probably still has some difficulties in managing the action. Probably would need to run a little less. As to Ronaldo, well, on Thursday, he didn't play the match because basically he worked very hard. So I decided to leave him to recover a little bit. But anyway, he will be available. Gianni Balzarini, Mediaset, well, talking about Ronaldo again, I would like to ask you, also this year, you think you will be managing Juventus and Ronaldo separately, or just managing Juventus as a whole? Well, there's always the management of the whole team, because for us, Ronaldo is an added value indeed, and he's a player that can guarantee an important, a considerable number of goals, and so we need to work with the whole team in order to make sure that we can exploit Ronaldo's skills and qualities. Mediama Dapazon, so you already talked about Ronaldo. What about Locatelli? So finally has arrived. So what about your impression? And do you think he will be playing from the beginning or not? What about his fitness? What about his condition? Well, obviously, I'm very happy that Locatelli has arrived. Well, Manuel has grown a lot. He has become a very important player. He is not in his best physical condition because he has not been working a lot, so he needs some more training days and working days. Well, now we have 8 days before the next match, so he will be coming to Udine tomorrow, so maybe if we need him, he will be able to play quarter, 20 minutes, and then we will be using the next week to get ready for the next match, and then we'll stop for the national team, and then when he comes back from the national team, he will certainly be in the ideal fitness. Good morning, Miss. I would like to ask you about Bernardeschi, especially from an emotional point of view, and what about the role that you have defined for him, or maybe with Locatelli, his position could change. Well, it's not that with Locatelli, the whole situation will change. Well, Bernardeschi is certainly a player that has very important qualities, but just like all the players here at Juventus, so in this squad, we all have important players because otherwise they wouldn't be here. But of course, it also depends on the different years, because there are some years where there are some factors or some components where the player's performance might change and could be better or worse. So not all the years are the same, but it's not he's a poor player. Certainly, he's a very good player. And Bernardeschi is definitely a good player, a very good player. But it depends how, just like all of us, of course, it depends on our mentality, on our head, and how we are willing to work. But this applies to Bernardeschi, but also to all the other teammates, to all the other players. So, in comparison with the previous years, those years that you were not here, so do you always feel very motivated and full of energy as before? Maybe do you have any doubts or uncertainty? Because it's quite natural when you start a new season that you might have some question marks left. But I would say that you're the usual Allegri. Well, it's a more personal question. Well, I can tell you that I'm older because, basically there are a lot of older coaches that have been called back, me, Spalletti, Sarri, so basically all the older coaches are back again. But as to the doubts and any possible uncertainties, well, we need to have these doubts and uncertainties because they raise your awareness, they make you feel more alert and more concentrated, more focused on your job. And so we need to have these, especially when things are going well. So we need to have these doubts and uncertainties. Then, yes, I've come back. And so obviously it's quite normal, just like all years, Juventus are starting in order to reach their objectives and to win all the competitions it is involved in. So, well, we'll be starting winning at least the first competition. That certainly will be a very remarkable result for us. So to start this championship in the best possible way, so to win the first match at least. Well, yes, to win by a nose. Well, as to this year, certainly it's going to be a very balanced championship. So we need to travel just like cruises. It's not having some peaks where we reach the top and then we decline. So where we have a 100% or 30%. So we'll have to, guarantee a cruise speed that is around 80% that will let us win the championship in the end. Fabiana Della Valle, Gazzetta dello Sport. Well, I have two questions for you. The first concerning the Scudetto. So Juventus, for a lot of insiders, is considered a favorite, and you said that Juventus is about to start to win, of course, but do you agree with this role as a favorite? Because a lot of people believe that you are a favorite. Well, usually the favorite team is the one that has won the Scudetto, but we know that we are part of these 6 or 7 teams that aim at winning the Scudetto, but just take one step at a time. So the first objective is to win tomorrow's match. That will certainly be a very good start to proceed to carry on with our work. The second question, you always say that you need to play very well from a technical point of view, and you have already pointed out it. So Locatelli is a very technical player and he goes in this direction. So apart from the attitude and approach of your side on the pitch, do you think that the technique, so the technical aspect is important to win? Well, all the players that I have in my team are certainly those that will allow us to win, but the approach that we need to have in dealing with all the matches with great respect for the opponent, to be aware of the fact that in order to win the Scudetto, you need to work hard on a daily basis, every single day, from a physical, technical, and mental point of view. As to football, of course, you need to, in order to play football, you need technique and solidity, and in order to reach March and fighting for the Scudetto, well, it means that the team has reached its own balance, because if we don't find this balance very quickly, then we'll start getting on the roller coaster, and so we won't be able to compete for the championship. Filippo Bonsignori, Corriere dello Sport. So, talking about Ronaldo once again, so after this last summer, can you definitely say that he will stay here at Juventus 100% sure, or do you still believe that you might lose him? Well, rumors about Ronaldo, well, I can't say anything about this. He's always been training very well. He's always been very available. Well, basically, I've just been reading about these rumors in the newspapers, but I'm not aware of the fact that he wants to leave Juventus, not at all. Sky Sport, well, as to rumors, so there are also some rumors about Dybala that has been negotiating the new contract and he's been playing as a captain in the last few matches. So I think he was feeling very well. So do you think that he will be playing as a captain tomorrow as well? And in general terms, do you think that in these last training weeks, have you seen that it maybe was different? Or so also in your first press conference when you came back, you saw him that he was more mature, so a man what about your opinion? Well, as to Paolo, I can say the same things I said about Bernardeschi. So I found a player whose technical qualities are not in question. Well, this year, basically, he came here just like the first year he came to Juventus, basically with extremely willing to reconquer Juventus, because his last 2 years, well, Paolo knows very well, were not up to his potential. And so this year, he came back, especially in terms of mentality, from a mental point of view, in a very different way, and he's been proving it day after day. So he's extremely eager, and I've seen this, the way, you know, he faces the training sessions and he plays. But basically, to play at a certain level, you definitely need to train regularly with great intensity, because otherwise your performance will be affected and they will not be up to your potentials. The last 3 questions. What question about the flank? Well, oh no, the captain. Oh, as a captain, you mean? Oh, yes. Well, if he plays, yes, he will be playing as a captain if he plays. The last 2 questions? Odenino alla Stampa, I would like to ask you, so basically you find Serie A after 2 years. You just mentioned before that the older coaches are back, so after this difficult transfer market, also because of the economic crisis, probably the main protagonist will be the coaches, you, Mourinho, Spalletti, Sarri, that is back as well. So what about the project that you are mainly attracted by at the beginning of the new championship? Well, first of all, I would like to clarify that the protagonists are always the players, not the coaches. So the coaches, the best coach is the one that can make less damages. Well, during the press conference, or after so many years of press conferences and my experience, of course, I probably will have lots of fun just making fun of each other and kidding each other. So, but basically, the players are those that really determine and affect the results of the matches. So we need to be good to put them in the right condition to guarantee the best performance. Manuela Gamba, Repubblica, I would like to ask you, what about your objective? Because this year, apart from the result, so do you have anything in particular in mind? Is there anything you really want to prove more than anything else? And then again, I would like to speak about Ronaldo. So did he tell you, I want to stay here at Juventus? Well, well, he told me that he wants to stay at Juventus. So we can finally clarify this thing. Yes, he told me that he wants to stay here at Juventus. As to, it's not that I have to prove or demonstrate anything. Well, we are here to work in order to obtain results. And so we need to get to the end and win, because basically at the end of the story in football, what really matters is to win through the play and through our solidity and balance. There are many different components to be taken into consideration. So basically all these factors, all these components will have to be together in order to win. Well, I have nothing to prove, but it's not because I don't have to prove anything, but just because what I want to do is to work and to support the squad that I have and make sure that they can exploit their best potential in the best possible way. So basically, what happened in the 5 years I spent at Juventus is something that is part of the past that you can see in the museum. But basically, Ronaldo won 5 golden balls. But if this year won't be playing up to his expectations and potential, well, basically people will just remember this last year and the fact that he had a poor performance at Juventus, and also what Chiesa had at the European Cup. If tomorrow Chiesa plays and his performance is not good, it's not that we just consider what he did at the European Cup. What has been done, obviously, is maintained, but what we need to do in the future, what we'll have to do in the future, we'll have to make sure that we'll be able to do it in the best possible way, because after Udine, then we'll be playing against Empoli, and that will matter as well, because after Udine, of course, we'll have to move ahead, we have to move on. So basically, we have to be extremely self-critical, otherwise we won't be able to win, or at least to create the conditions to win, because otherwise, we always talk about the past 20 years ago, but he won, and so I did, and now we need to do something for the future that is something completely different. So basically we are all a question here, because only this way we can really manage to guarantee a better performance, or at least to create a condition for a better performance. The last question. Good morning, Timothy Ormezzano, Corriere della Sera in Leggo. I would like to know if you expect anything more from the transfer market, and maybe Pjanic's name still been discussed in your office, as well as the transfer market is up to the club, and obviously we are perfectly aligned on this. Then I talked to the club and I told them that I'm very happy with the players that I have. There are many young players, so we need to create value and to improve the performance of these young players. Anyway, I have found a team that last year worked very well because they won 2 trophies and they also participated in the Champions League, and many players have grown, and so basically we'll go ahead in this direction. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.